good morning, everyone, and thank you all very much for joining our webinar today, which is entitled Horizon Europe, Insight into Funding and Collaboration Opportunities with the EU Partners. My name is Annabelle Fogden, and I'm the Senior International Business and Events Manager here at London Chamber of Commerce. So Horizon Europe supports innovative projects in Europe that UK businesses can participate in, and we're delighted to collaborate with the Hungarian-British Business Alliance Global to bring this panel of experts who will be presenting today. I'm delighted to introduce their names. We have firstly Susanna Toth-Lee, who's the founder and CEO of HBBA Global. We have Professor Isa Shear, Thermal Energy Systems Associate Dean, Research and Innovation, College of Technology and Environment from the London South Bank University. And we have Balazs Koch, founder and CEO of Blue Door Consulting. So thank you very much all for being here today to tell us about this fascinating topic. Just to let everybody know, the session will be recorded, and we will send a circular after this webinar with the recording and a copy of the presentation. There will be the opportunity to ask questions at the end, so please do put your questions at the end in the Q&A. You can type those in and we will read them out. And otherwise we are in expert hands. So with no further ado, I'm very pleased to hand over to Susanna. Thank you.
Thank you, Annabelle. Good morning, everyone. Okay, I'm so pleased and so happy to have you here, dear guests. So you are interested in Horizon Europe, and the reason why I'm starting this session is not because I'm a Horizon Europe expert, we'll have two amazing ones, but because, as Annabelle mentioned, I'm the founder of HBBA Global, and we are here in the middle in the UK between the Canadian and Hungarian partners, because HBBA Global provides trilateral ecosystem, trilateral economical connections between the UK, Canada, and Hungary. I also would like to mention my second role, which I'm so proud of. I've been a valued, proud ambassador of London Chamber of Commerce, and it might be one of the reasons why we can collaborate and we can run this session. So let me introduce very shortly, and I will hand over the mic, the way to the experts. Very shortly, HBBA, what do we do? HBBA, as I mentioned, runs a trilateral ecosystem, and not just because of Hungary, but we've been very, very well connected in Central Eastern Europe. So those British companies who would like to expand and do market entry in this region, please come and reach me out. It's a powerful conduit for businesses seeking growth and expansion across these dynamic markets, encouraging investment opportunities and ensuring our clients and members' business thrive globally. I mentioned clients and members. Yes, HBBA, similar to London Chamber of Commerce, it's a membership-based company. And we're so proud to have global members from China, Israel, for example, so Italy, from different parts of the world. Our vision is to become known as the leading British, Hungarian, Canadian business authority by fostering cross-border partnerships. We create a dynamic network that champions innovation, drives economic growth, and opens new markets. What we do is, it's internationally, we help businesses set up, expand, invest, or get investments in the UK, from the UK, Canada, and Hungary. Approximately 20 events were organized last year, and this is the number this year too. So I'm kindly asking you, please, to follow HBBA Global on LinkedIn, social media, follow me, or just drop me a line, and I'm more than happy to share more information with you. At last, The last one that I would love to share with you is how we do it. We have amazing industry experts, advisors. They are they provide tailored professional services. Every single part of the UK, Hungarian, and Canadian market entry, every single part is covered by our advisors. We have a very extensive international network of influential business leaders and members. We've been working closely by the Embassy of Hungary in London, the Hungarian Export Promotion Agency in Budapest, the Hungarian Innovation Agency in Budapest, and Canadian colleagues too. So I'm happy to talk to you later, but now the topic is Horizon Europe. Two of our valued members and experts will share information about how you can apply for it, and the case study also will be covered by Professor Issa. But as a first expert, I like to ask Balázs Kos, the CEO founder of Blue Door. Please take it over. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Zsuzsanna, for this very comprehensive scene setter, and also to Annabelle for hosting us online. So my name is Balázs Kos. I'm the founder and CEO of Blue Door Consulting. We're specializing in direct EU funding opportunities. And the reason actually why we're doing this online webinar at the moment is because we consider these direct EU funding opportunities, so the calls offered by and the EU programs offered by the European Union, as a way to strengthen the links between businesses and higher education institutions and relevant stakeholders in both the UK and Hungary. So this fits within the context that Zsuzsanna was outlining earlier. What you need to know, I think that is very important, is that the United Kingdom, while it was still a member of the European Union, could fully benefit from these opportunities. After Brexit, there was a time period when these opportunities were not available. But as of January 1st, 2024, the United Kingdom has been associated again to Horizon Europe, which has paved the way to all organizations in the United Kingdom. So let them be higher education institutions, corporates, SMEs, startups, think tanks, research institutes, to fully benefit from these opportunities. Professor Issa will speak later about these opportunities in practice, but let me already just foreshadow that we have already collaborated with the London South Bank University on Horizon Europe, which means that this is very much something that is working in practice. So very briefly about these direct EU funding opportunities, we consider them to be relevant for businesses in the UK as well from two angles. So on the one hand, it's an opportunity to have access to finance, because most of the time these are those kind of funding opportunities that businesses have not considered yet, besides, for example, loans or venture capitals. These are equity-free funding opportunities. And the second one is that because these calls under Horizon Europe, for example, require consortia, so that means European partnerships, at least 3 different entities from 3 different countries. This means that during these partnerships, collaborations can come to fruition, which can actually, in the medium term, then yield business benefits. So you get to meet partners all across Europe. And outside the framework of these projects or of the preparation of this project, you can also develop business partnerships with them. For example, we also had example where entities collaborated within the framework of a project, and outside the framework of Horizon Europe, after submitting the proposal, they started discussing together how they could do business together. So the good news is that Horizon Europe the calls under Horizon Europe have just been published today by the European Commission, since the work program was adopted yesterday. So this means roughly that there are around 1,000 calls for proposals that are being launched or that have been launched today, tomorrow, and over the course of May, with a deadline of September and November. The reason I'm emphasizing Horizon Europe so much is because Horizon Europe is the specific funding program to which the UK is associated again. There are other EU funding programs that support circular economy, innovation and research, but we're sticking to Horizon Europe today for the simple reason that this is the most relevant for UK-based entities. So, as I mentioned, the United Kingdom is reassociated to this program, which means that UK-based entities should be aware of the eligibility requirements, which are 3 different entities from 3 different countries. This can be member states and/or associated countries. The typical EU contribution per consortium varies between 1 to 3 million euros at a co-funding rate between 70 to 100%, which means that a partner in a consortium would need to put up 0% or something between 0 to 30% of contribution. And the cost categories that can be covered through these grants include personnel costs, subcontracting costs, purchase costs, that includes travel and subsistence, equipment, other goods and services, as well as indirect costs. In terms of who can be the beneficiaries of these calls, I think it's very important to note that, as we said earlier, it's not only higher education institutions, or it's not only big companies, it's open to everyone. So think about SMEs of all sizes, startups can apply as well, research organizations, obviously higher education institutions that have been very successful under Horizon 2020 before Brexit. So that's the predecessor to Horizon Europe, as well as non-governmental organizations and civil society organizations. The bottom line when it comes to building these partnerships is looking at which kind of organizations can yield the most benefit to a certain project. And that is behind choosing which partners you actually work with, besides striving for a certain level of geographical coverage. So, for example, let's stick to the example that Susanna brought up. So if there's like a Hungarian entity that wants to apply for these calls, and you have a Central and Eastern European consortium consisting, let's say, of Polish and Bulgarian, Romanian, Croatian entities, then obviously it's a good idea to bring in more partners from Western Europe, including France, Germany, and/or Italy and the UK, because that also gives the opportunity for the members of the consortium to benefit from a certain type of knowledge transfer, so they can learn from each other. So the universities or the companies in Western Europe can learn from stakeholders in Central and Eastern Europe, and vice versa. Very briefly put, the way it works is there are different phases for preparing these applications. So first of all, as the calls have just been launched today, you look at the calls. Then we need to see what are the relevant areas for the partner. And then we start building the consortium based on the project preparation phase, where we also identify what kind of policy priorities the know-how of the partner and the project and the suggested project can fulfill. And we identify the consortium partners who each have a distinct role within a consortium. And then through coordination of the consortium, the proposal is being developed, including the budget and the work packages. And then the process culminates in the submission of the proposal. Now, the question of what can be covered or what areas are relevant for this, let me just briefly outline that the European Commission took office last December, which means that they articulated certain priorities for the next 5 years. Under Horizon Europe, the main topics include health, culture, creativity, and inclusive society. You have civil security for society, digital, industry, space, climate, energy, food, bioeconomy, agriculture, environment, and innovation in general. These are just some of the main topics that Horizon Europe can cover and that Horizon Europe can fund. And these are the main priority areas which will be funded over this period. What needs to be noted as well, and let me reach back a little bit here to the previous experience of the United Kingdom and in EU funding programs, more specifically to Horizon 2020. So Horizon 2020 was the predecessor to Horizon Europe. Horizon Europe runs between 2021 and 2027. Horizon 2020 ran between 2014 and 2020. Under Horizon 2020, the UK was amongst the most successful countries in bidding for funding. It received a total of 7 billion euros, which amounted to approximately 12.1% of the total program funding. And this was actually, and it needs to be noted at this point, that this was higher than the UK's average contribution to the EU budget. So this was something very positive for the UK. And this is why we're also putting a lot of emphasis on helping UK-based entities re-engage within the frameworks of this program. So just to throw around a couple of numbers, the net EU contribution to UK-based stakeholders was at 7.79 billion euros. There were over 10,000 grants that have been signed by the Commission with partners. So that's 10,000 engagements. It could have been, a university might have participated 2 times or 3 times in different consortia, but there were 10,000 agreement signs, more than 10,000. More than 17,000 entities participated. That's 9.8% of Horizon 2020. The success rate was also around 15%, which was a lot higher than the average of 11% under Horizon 2020, which is very well mirrored by the fact that compared to the signed number of agreements, which was at over 10,000, the number of applications submitted was over 100,000. So that was pretty impressive. In terms of who benefited the most from these funding opportunities, according to the statistics, it was higher or secondary education establishments. You also have research organizations, and you have the private sector as well, who largely benefited from these funding opportunities. Now, the good news is that the road ahead is quite clear in terms of what needs to be done and what should be done. So the calls have been launched today, and they're being launched recently over this week and the coming weeks, with a tentative deadline of September and November. This is the first wave of calls for 2025. Under Horizon Europe, because the EU budget and the Horizon Europe program subsequently ends in 2027, there's going to be a work program for 2026 and 2027 as well, which means that now is a good time to start preparing for this year's call that can also be beneficial for next year's call. Just to give you a couple of numbers, 35% of the budget is allocated to climate action for this year. 88.8% is allocated to biodiversity. This includes 1.14 billion for climate, energy, and transport projects. Over 800 million euros are allocated for food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and environment. These are all very important areas for the UK economy as well. At the same time, 36% of Horizon Europe funding will support digital transition, with 1.6 billion euros earmarked for artificial intelligence development. And the focus areas also include next generation battery electric vehicles, advanced manufacturing techniques, vehicle digitalization, as well as cybersecurity and circular economy practices. Now, let me just give a couple of ideas in terms of what to do and what not to do, at least what we consider important to do and not to do. And then I will hand over to Isa, who can provide a very practical and pragmatic and hands-on approach to this. So what is very important is that any project that is being submitted under Horizon Europe is closely aligned with EU priorities, and also it doesn't duplicate any previous projects. So it needs to be something novel. It needs to be something that can be replicated across different policy areas and across different geographical areas. So if there's a consortium that is focusing on, let's say, Central and Eastern Europe with a consortium leader from France and or the UK, it also needs to be an innovation that can be used in other geographic areas. So, for example, in Spain or in Italy or in the Western Balkans. And also it is useful based on the call description if it can also be an innovation that can be relevant for other policy areas. Now, what the evaluators usually look at is also the excellence and the composition of the consortium. So this is why it's very important also to include higher education institutions from various countries, and to ensure that the strong and multidisciplinary approach of the consortium can underline the project objectives. It's usually we recommend not leaving the project preparation for the last minute, as well as the budgeting needs to be done on time as well. Obviously, we have Bluter Consulting stand ready to support you in this journey, and to make sure that the proposal is as successful as possible. And at this point, let me hand over to Isa, who will share the very pragmatic approach of what is it like to be a UK-based entity with boots on the ground in Horizon Europe.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Balázs. Good morning, and thank you, Annabelle and Susanna, for inviting us today. My name is Isa Shire. I am the Associate Dean for Research and Innovation at the College of Technology within London South Bank University. And I've got a presentation. I'm sure you can see the presentation. Am I correct, Balázs? Is the presentation visible? Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. Brilliant. So what I'll start with a quick overview of our research and innovation at London South Bank University. And I'll start by discussing a little bit of our vision for research and the strategy. And here at LSBU, our 2030 vision is for research and innovation is to undertake research that is distinctive, that is innovative, and which benefits local and global communities. This is underpinned by creating mission-led themes that align with the United Nations SDGs and also Horizon Europe aim, from tackling societal challenges to improving community health and well-being, and also developing sustainable technologies and fostering innovation and growth. This is underpinned by 5 research centers that we have here at London South Bank University: the Center for Energy and Material and Environment, the Center for Health and Well-being, the Center of Digital X, Bioscience and Bioengineering, and then Building Future Communities. In terms of flagship research, we do a lot of research into energy and decarbonizations. This is in terms of net zero building and market transformations. We also do research on smart local energy systems and domestic and commercial retrofits. Other themes of research that we do within the university is environmental and climate resilience, starting from coastal and ocean hazards, earthquakes resilience, to geotechnic and ground improvement. We do research on architecture, planning, and material, from 3D printing to with alternative materials. We also do research on architectural history, health, and urban planning. We also touch on circular design for sustainability, digitalizations, and smart technologies. And also we do work and research on 5G and generation communications and monitoring. So in that element, as well as the material and manufacturing. So before Brexit, we at LSBU, like many other universities in the UK, benefited, as Balázs has mentioned, from Horizon Europe, as UK was an EU member state. As I recall, the UK overall received more from the UK framework program. I think, Balázs, you've mentioned that we were a net beneficiary, and we contributed making to the EU through our innovations and our research and our findings. We topped the chart for European Research Council, and also we attracted global talents. We did very well with Marie Curie fellowships. We also led major global impact collaborations, and we also attracted world-class talents. Unfortunately, after Brexit, we lost access to key Horizon Europe programs, and the participation declined, and thus our involvement in Horizon Europe stalled a little bit, although there was parallel programs here in the UK to try and support the researchers who are working, be it from Innovate UK or the UK government, in order to bridge the transition. Of course, moving forward, we need to be looking. Sorry. Moving forward, since the associations, now the UK is back. It's a new chapter for the UK and UK research establishments and the UK sector overall. And it is actually a good start. It's a new chapter, actually. It's almost resurrecting this European links and restarting these from scratch in some areas. And some areas we're rebuilding what was halted during the transition. What we see currently is an early momentum with regard to the Marie Curie and the ARC Pillar 1. What's next is actually we need to be improving that UK leadership in EU research by working more with our partners in Europe and boosting Pillar 2 engagement and strategic collaborations. I think that's the way to maximize the benefits across the Horizon landscape. From my experience and working with Balázs, I met Balázs during a trip to Budapest, and we had a discussion about bidding for Horizon Europe. I came back here to the university. I discussed this with colleagues, and when the discussion started, initially, Balázs had already informed us about the call. Now it was a matter for me as an associate dean, not the expert, but the associate dean, was to build that link within the university. And that was the important part. Balázs was bringing in the international partners. And from my side, I was working with colleagues in the university to build that consortium within the university, and then also working with other UK partners here in the UK. Some of the lessons that we found during this process, it's never too early to start working on the bid. I think early planning is critical. It is very, very important that you develop, you maintain momentum, and it's always having regular meetings with the consortiums. The consortium composition is very, very important. We had to change some of the partners because of the financial costings as well. We wanted to make the proposal as impactful as possible, as much as possible, but also we needed to make sure that the discussions and keep on continuing, not just through the bid submissions, but beyond the bid submissions. So it's important to build that concrete compositions. Balázs was very helpful in that, in bringing partners, but also our network here in the UK helped us to bridge that gap. My colleague who may be on this call, Abuzar Istibsari, did a great job by bringing in partners from Italy and Belgium. Also, Balázs brought partners from Hungary, Slovakia, and there was a discussion about bringing in partners from Romania, Germany, and Greece. So building the trust and defining the rules early in the discussion was very, very important. Regular meetings, and also one of the aspects that we touched on, that we always need to touch on, is the alignment with new UK rules. Of course, there is export control. Some of the technologies needs to be looked at. If it is 5G or IoT or dual use technologies, then that has to we need to do some work on the general disclosure at early start, and if there is partners out from outside Europe then who are involved, be it companies, then there might be export control that needs to be addressed at an early stage. So overall, the experience has been very, very positive, and I think it's one of the elements that have helped us to submit proposals, and we're currently looking at our third proposal since we started the discussion, is looking at that momentum and keeping the momentum. If you're not successful the first time, perseverance and carry on, use the feedback to build, to reflect on what has been done, and then re-review with the partners what has been achieved, or when can you submit in the future for other future applications. So I will stop at this time. I will pass back to the organizers. I think it's a good time for question and a session.
Thank you so much, everybody. And Balazs, Professor Issa, I thought absolutely fascinating. Yeah, really, really interesting to hear the amount of involvement that there has been and success. And